I don't know about you, but something about the weather changing has had me craving gourmand fragrances. I'm talking fragrances with fruity notes. I'm talking about dessert like gourmands. I'm talking about the traditional gourmand fragrances. But if you know me, you know that if I'm going to go for a gourmand fragrance, I want to go for something that's still a little bit unusual. I don't want to go for the typical gourmand fragrances. I want something to really be quite special. And in this video, I have 8 gourmand fragrances that I think are perfect contenders for the springtime that we're experiencing right now. These are fragrances that do feature gourmand notes, but they're a little bit more special. They're a little bit more unusual. They are really, really amazing perfumes, in my personal opinion. Most of these perfumes are going to be niche, but I do have a few really affordable gems in here, under $100, and some even under $50, if I'm being completely honest, that I really do recommend checking out. So if you're interested in finding a new gourmand fragrance to try, or if you just want to sit down and chit chat about some gourmand fragrances, then this is the video for you. If this is your first time watching this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I love fragrances. I talk about them here every single weekday, Monday through Friday. I also publish additional content on TikTok and Instagram under the username ANECHKAFRAGRANCES. And if you're like me and you're a bit of a history nerd, I actually do have a podcast called The Fragrance Report, where I do deep dives on various aspects of fragrance history. I also talk about trends, share with you my weekly favorites, things like that. So if that sounds interesting to you, the podcast is available on Spotify, and I launch a new episode of the podcast every Wednesday on Spotify and here on YouTube. If you know me, you know that when it comes to gourmand fragrances, I like to go for the unique gourmands. I like to go for the gourmands that are extra special, because how many musky vanilla chocolate fragrances can you actually realistically own, right? So all of these gourmand fragrances have a special twist to them that I consider to be rather memorable. So I am excited to share these with you, starting off with an affordable niche fragrance. I consider this to be niche, but honestly, it's under $100, so this is going to be quite affordable, especially for what you're getting. This is the brand called Neydo, and they have this fragrance called Alien Fruit. So if you're looking for a guava fragrance, if you're looking for something that smells a little bit like citrus sorbet, this is a terrific fragrance to try out. As many of you know, the note of guava has been trending a lot lately, and this to me is one of the most photorealistic versions of a guava fragrance. It also has some red berries. I believe there's red currant in here as well. There are some slight floral notes, but in my opinion, this is a directly guava sorbet, citrusy sorbet kind of perfume. It's very, very gourmand, very photorealistic, and it smells absolutely fantastic. I remember when I first received this fragrance in PR about a month or two ago, I kind of like smelled it and I knew immediately that this would be better suited for the warm weather. And now that we're finally getting warm weather, this is the fragrance that I want to wear right now. This is fantastic. So we have notes of yuzu, red currant, and pomegranate at the top, a heart of guava, cyclamen, red fruits, and then a base of musk and white amber. So like I said, this just smells very photorealistic. The notes of like sorbet are especially prominent. I get kind of like a citrusy sorbet. So yuzu, for those of you who don't know, is actually kind of like a bitter citrus. So it's in the citrus family, but it's not going to be like a citrus in the way that a lemon or a lime is. So it's a bit of like a kind of bitter citrus. It's very interesting. I love seeing it in fragrance because it adds a bit of a citrus aspect to a perfume that's still quite unusual. And I definitely get like a citrusy sorbet kind of idea with this perfume, especially with the guava as well. So this is a very photorealistic gourmand perfume. So if you want a guava fragrance, I would say this is a really good contender to try out. And it also is around $86, I believe. Let me check their website. So yeah, this is 86 euros currently, and I do have a code available with this brand. I believe it's Anya 10 to save some money, but I do think this is by far one of my favorite guava fragrances that I've tried. It's very prominent on the guava, so if you're looking for something like that, this is definitely worth checking out. Another fragrance is actually a brand new release in my collection is Anelo by Pernoire. This is a perfume that I have been wearing a lot lately whenever I am craving something fruity, something delicious that will also last all day. I go for this. I've also been wearing it layered with other perfumes as well, some of which I will show you later on in this video. But this is for those of you who want a tropical fragrance, but you don't want anything too typical. For me, an issue that I was running into with a lot of fragrances that were pulling like tropical notes is some of those fragrances to me would smell like a mango smoothie, for instance, or like a pineapple like Dole Whip. And I wouldn't necessarily get anything like too unusual or too special. Like I didn't want to consistently smell like a fruit smoothie every single time I was wearing one of these fragrances, right? So this perfume really stood out to me because it has tropical notes, it has mango, it has pineapple, but it also does feature a ginger note, which adds a bit of like a spiciness to it, but not in an overt way. So you definitely do get the tropical fruits with this, but it's kind of like there's a gingery twist to it that makes it smell a little bit more unusual and quite special. And also, if you're unaware, Pernoire does extrays, so this fragrance is incredibly strong. It lasts all day. This is one of those fragrances that I can just spray on like my pulse points and I don't have to worry about it fading throughout the day. I've received compliments wearing this fragrance. It's really, really worth checking out. I love this perfume. So let's look at the scent pyramid of this. So we have top notes of pomelo, pineapple, and mandarin, a mid of ginger, mango, and magnolia, and then a base of amber, vetiver, and patchouli. Like I said, this does have those tropical notes. This does have like those slightly spicy notes. There is magnolia. I feel like maybe the magnolia is contributing to like the full bodied like sweetness of this, but I don't really get the magnolia as much as I get like the pineapple. But there was a time when I would look at pineapple in fragrances and I would kind of balk at it. I wouldn't like go for those fragrances immediately because like I said, I didn't want to smell like a fruit smoothie, but this is so good. Like this smells like realistic pineapple, lightly spiced with ginger and mango. This is really addictive. I love it so much. It's instantly, honestly, one of my favorite gourmand fragrances in this particular category. This is really, really good. This is one of those fragrances that I clearly cannot stop smelling. So this has been one of my obsessions lately. Anelo by Pernoire. In general, Pernoire is one of my favorite niche brands, and I'm not just saying that because I have an affiliate partnership with them. They genuinely have been doing some amazing things when it comes to fragrances in the last few years. And Anelo is just one of their latest releases that I absolutely love. So this is really, really good. I do have a code available with them. I think I have 2 codes, one of which, Anya DK, is available for 20% off, or you can use that code to get 20% off on their Discovery set. I know a few of you guys have already used that code, and I hope that you're able to enjoy these fragrances as much as I do, because I do think that Pernoire is one of those brands that if you're willing to kind of like take a step forward into the niche fragrance space and you want to kind of start experimenting a little bit more with scent profiles and you want to go for something that's a little bit more high quality, unusual, but still something that will last all day, Pernoire is definitely a brand to check out. They have some amazing options. So Anelo, absolutely love this fragrance. I've been wearing it a lot. Next up is a perfume that's sweet, that's delicious, that has notes like cotton candy, strawberry, that is a gourmand perfume, but what's nice about this is that it also has some greenness to it. It also has some tartness which cuts through that sweetness, making this a bit more unusual, a bit more special. I'm of course referring to Calda by Lark Parfums. This is a gorgeous fragrance that got a lot of hype last year, so that made me really curious about this perfume, and I'm happy to have it in my collection. I bought it, I think, late last year. But this is one of those fragrances that is especially wonderful, in my opinion, for this time of year because, yes, it has those gourmand sweet notes, but it also is a bit more unusual because of that green factor. So we have notes of strawberry, cassis, champagne, and lychee at the top, a mid of jasmine and lily of the valley, and then a base of cotton candy, amber, musk, and vanilla. So the lychee definitely adds some like full-bodied fruitiness here. I also get like a little bit of like a strawberry feel to it. And there's something about this perfume that very much leans into like that fruity category. The cotton candy isn't too overt here, and I definitely get some bubbliness with that champagne. But I think the cassis also adds a beautiful greenness to it that keeps it from being too focused on the lychee. So you know like how lychee is in so many niche fragrances right now, or so many fragrances in general. Well, this is a lychee fragrance with something a bit more unusual to it. So this is one that I think is perfect for this time of year. If you haven't tried it and these notes sound interesting to you, definitely check it out. Okay, so next up is a perfume that I've had for a really long time, and I've made a dent in this. It's Buontalenti by Profumo di Firenze. This is a great affordable niche option. If you're looking for affordable niche and you're looking for a gourmand fragrance and you're especially looking for something that will really perform the best in the warm weather, this is absolutely amazing. This is a fragrance that is inspired by Florentine gelato. So gelato with fruits, the waffle cone, all that. This is that. And what I like about this is that it does really well in the warm weather because that's when the sillage really sings. Like that's when the sillage really is at its best with this perfume. It really projects quite nicely. But in the winter, when you wear this fragrance, you will still like it, in my opinion. Like I still like it in the winter, but it kind of falls a little bit flat in the winter. In the summertime and in the springtime, when it's warm, that's when this fragrance really projects beautifully. So yeah, this is gorgeous. And this is actually one of the few banana scents that I actually appreciate because there is banana in this, or there is the banana note in this fragrance, but it's not like too much. And there's also some like apricots, I believe, red fruits. This literally smells like a gelato perfume. So let's go into the notes. This perfume has notes of banana, apricot, peach, and red fruits, amid of coconut, vanilla, and raspberry, and then a base of toffee, cookie, caramel, and musk. So yes, like I said, it's very, very fruity, kind of also gelato in there. Beautiful waffle cone. This is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. If those notes sound good to you, check this one out. It's available for like around $100. It's honestly, I think, a really fair price for what you're getting. This is one of the more realistic gourmand fragrances. This is a natural smelling gourmand fragrance as well. So this will literally make you smell like there is gelato in the vicinity of where you're standing. So this is that kind of fragrance. It's really beautiful. Highly recommend. Buontalenti by Profumo di Firenze. I have gotten compliments on that as well. Not that that should be a defining factor, but if you're looking for something that will give you compliments, that's really amazing. So I don't know about you, but I love layering my fragrances, and sometimes when I want to do that, it's really useful to have a body mist in my arsenal, so to speak, just so I can layer it with an existing fragrance without worrying about the two scents competing with one another. So for that purpose, I've included Berry Styles from Snif in this video. This is a body mist that came from their latest collection that was inspired by essentially having pancakes in the morning, I think. And basically they had like a lot of different scents and body mists in that collection, meant to kind of mimic the idea of like berry compotes with your pancakes. They had a fragrance called Hot Cakes, which I absolutely love and I've been talking about for the last few weeks, that is also inspired by pancakes, and that perfume is gorgeous. It literally smells like pancakes, like very fluffy pancakes with maple syrup. So I've been wearing that a lot. But for this video, I want to go for something that I haven't talked as much about, and that is definitely Berry Styles. This is a lovely perfume that focuses on berries like blueberries, raspberries. There's also blue freesia in this apparently, and it also does feature a hint of lime, like the kind of lime that you probably put with your berry compote to offset the sweetness. And there's also some creamy woods and vanilla with this as well. So this is a very photorealistic berry compote kind of fragrance. So if you want that, this is definitely going to be the one for you. I believe this size is $24, and they also have a larger size available that's around like the mid-30s range. And you can use my code Anya10 for some money off. Most of the brands that I work with, I do try to make sure my codes are all uniform. So most of my codes are going to be Anya 10. So if you have any questions about that, that info is always in my description box. But yeah, let's move on to the next fragrance. Next up is one of my all-time favorite fragrances. I'm talking, of course, about Sora Dora's Mallow. This is a phenomenal perfume. So this basically has notes of vanilla sugar, raspberry, heliotrope, orange blossom, and it also does feature that kind of like marshmallow accord, I think because of that vanilla sugar. That also coincides with the trend that we saw a lot, I think in 2023, 2024, where you had kind of like this violet marshmallow trend, like marshmallow fragrances paired with a orange blossom note. This perfume plays with that trend, but in my opinion, it's the best version of that trend. I absolutely love this scent. This smells deliciously good. I absolutely love this perfume. It's going to be one of my favorite fragrances for a really long time, in my opinion. And a little bit goes a long way, because you can tell I've had this fragrance for at least 6 months, maybe even more than that. But this perfume has been one of my most worn fragrances, and I haven't even made that big of a dent in this, because a little bit truly goes a long way. I just need like 2 or 3 sprays of this max. And even more for nighttime, but like I don't really need more than 5 sprays of this, because this will last a long time and this will project beautifully. So we have raspberry, vanilla, sugar, pink pepper, a mid of heliotrope, orange blossom, and almond, and then a base of violet, black musk, and amber. Phenomenal, beautiful fragrance. Yeah, a gourmand fragrance for those of you who are looking for something a little bit more unique and interesting. Sora Dora's Mallow is iconic. This is amazing. I do have a discount code with the brand, so if you're interested in getting this fragrance, definitely use my code if you want to get some money off. Next up, I have Kheir Slow Sip. This is a brand that was created by the Lebanese content creator Sihem over on TikTok, and she's also been making YouTube videos lately, which I absolutely love because I love her content. But she created this brand and she's launched 4 fragrances so far. I'm pretty sure she's going for a 5th soon, but this is a perfume that really smells like a delicious fruity cocktail. It's supposed to mimic that, actually. So there's a bit of booziness to it. There's some florals. There's also some fruitiness. And if you're looking to try out the brand, I would definitely recommend getting their discovery set. They have like this set of 4 fragrances that come in this 20 milliliter sizing. So that's a really great way of trying all 4 of their fragrances that they have out as I'm filming this video. But this is a gorgeous perfume. This is honestly insanely complex, because when you look at the scent pyramid, there's a lot going on here. We have top notes of cognac, lime, cardamom, mango, mandarin, and coconut, a mid of black pepper, rum, cypriol, caramel, lily of the valley, and violet, and then a base of ambroxan, amber, moss, musk, vanilla, and sandalwood. What I love about this is that this plays with the boozy elements of a cocktail, but it's not too focused on that cognac accord. It also has some added complexity with those fruity notes, with those slightly more aromatic notes. And personally, I love how this perfume has a lot going on, but it also is extremely well blended. Something that I find with some boozy fragrances is, to me, sometimes they lean a little bit too boozy. This perfume doesn't do that. Yes, there's a bit of booziness, but it's also accented quite beautifully with the other notes, like with the tropical notes, with the slightly more aromatic notes. And this is just one of those perfumes that, yes, has those tropical notes, but because of the complexity, it smells very unique and very beautiful and quite elegant. So this is a unique gourmand that I would highly recommend trying if you want something a little bit more different. Fantastic option by Kheir. Again, this is Slow Sip. Okay, so next up is a fragrance that's for those of you who want something more traditionally gourmand. You want something that's a little bit more lactonic, a little bit chocolatey, a little bit vanilla, a little bit sweet, but you also want something that could easily translate to, being appropriate for the warmer weather. This is, in my opinion, an all year round great option. It's by Chabaud. It's called Mon Tiramisu. Chabaud, for those of you who don't know, is a brand based in France. They create really beautiful gourmand fragrances, specifically lactonic gourmands. And this is insanely good. I would say that this is probably one of my favorite options from their line in general. This is a perfume that, of course, is inspired by the tiramisu dessert that so many of us know and love. This is a perfume that has some light coffee notes to it. There is some chocolate, there's some vanilla, there is like the biscuit accord, which I absolutely love. And there's also creaminess in here too. This is stunningly gorgeous. And if you're looking for something that has those traditional like vanilla sweet gourmand elements, but something that's very unique, this is an amazing one. And quite frankly, whenever I see a tiramisu fragrance come out on the market, I always tend to prefer this one, because what I like about this one is that it has those elements of a tiramisu, but it's not too sweet, because so many of those fragrances sometimes lean a little bit too into the sweetness of the vanilla, but this has the biscuit note. This has the lactonic creaminess. This is more complex, and it also has some coffee to it. So I absolutely love this. I actually gave this as part of like a discovery set that I created for a friend of mine. It was her birthday recently, and I basically decanted a few perfumes for her. And this was one of the perfumes that I gave her, and she texted me the other day and she said that this was absolutely her favorite in the selection that I gave her. She was in love with this perfume. So it just goes to show that if you are someone who already loves gourmands, but you want something a little bit more unusual, a little bit special, this is fantastic. So this has notes of whipped cream and coffee at the top, amid of vanilla, biscuit, and coconut milk, and then a base of chocolate, sandalwood, and musk. Like I said, a more unusual take on the gourmand, on the vanilla gourmand kind of category. This is absolutely beautiful. It's very, very stunning. I do have a code available with Chabaud. You can use it. It's Anya 10. So yeah, definitely recommend getting at least a discovery set from Chabaud. If you love gourmands, especially like tonic takes on gourmands, this is fantastic. So anyway, those are all 8 fragrances that I want to share with you. 8 fragrances that are gourmand that would be beautiful options for the springtime. Let me know, have you heard of any of these fragrances before? Have you tried any of them? If so, what were your thoughts? I'm curious to hear what you have to say. And if there are any fragrances that are in the gourmand category that you're really excited to wear this spring, definitely let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear your suggestions. But thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed this and found it interesting, and I'll see you next time. Bye.